What is up, guys? It is your boy Fo here, and welcome back to the Fo Show. In today's video, I'm going to be listing the top player by salary categorized by millions. For example, John Wall is making $38 million this season. Is he the best player that's making $38 million? I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. For the sake of this video, we'll be rounding to the nearest million, and rookies are not involved, so let's get started. $1 million. This one was actually the hardest to pick, as all the players getting paid $1 million barely get any playing time. I came down to Hamidou Diallo, Elie Okobo, and Brad Wanamaker. Elie Okobo had the most games played and averaged the most amount of minutes, meaning he was good enough to stay on an NBA team. So, Elie Okobo is the best player, as of right now, to get paid $1 million. $2 million. This one came down to Pascal Siakam and Kyle Kuzma. Siakam had averaged 16.9 points per game and had a 55% field goal. Kuzma had 18.7 points per game, but he had a 45% field goal. I'm going to give this one to Siakam as he was playing with a better team and still put up very impressive numbers. $3 million. I think it's safe to say John Collins is the winner for $3 million. The only player that would be a competition for him is Michael Porter Jr., and he might have a very good year, but obviously he hasn't played a single game yet in the NBA due to an injury, so the winner goes to John Collins. $4 million. I started with 4 options for this one, and it was DeMarcus Cousins, Domantas Sabonis, Jamal Murray, and Donovan Mitchell. I think we can cross DeMarcus Cousins out, as he's clearly not the player that he once was. Domantas Sabonis had a very surprising year, but he's still missing that one piece in his game to take it to another level. Now between Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell, all we have to ask is who's the franchise player for their team? Yep, it's Donovan Mitchell. $5 million. This is either Colin Sexton or Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield had averaged 20.7 points per game with a 42.7 3-point percentage. He stayed healthy all year by playing all 82 games. Sexton also played all 82 games, but he averaged 16.7 points per game. Buddy Hield had taken more shots per game with 16.6, but I still think he is the better player. Sexton has a great future ahead of him, but at the moment, I think Buddy Hield is still the better player. $6 million. There's Montrezl Harrell, Jonathan Isaac, De'Aaron Fox, and Trae Young. I think we can eliminate the two bigs out right away, and this will be a point guard battle. De'Aaron Fox had averaged 17.3 points per game while shooting 46% from the field. He took just over 13 shots a game while making about 6. Trae Young had averaged 19.1 points per game with a 42% field goal. He took about 15 shots per game while making just over 6. I know De'Aaron Fox had the better stats on paper, but Trae Young was a rookie this season, and he's just going to get even better this upcoming season, which is why I'm going to give this one to Trae Young. $7 million. This one was between Jaren Jackson Jr. and Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram had averaged 18.3 points per game with a 49.7 field goal percentage. Jaren Jackson Jr. had averaged 13.8 points per game with a 50.6 field goal percentage. If we were talking potential, maybe Jaren Jackson might have the edge, but as of right now, I think it's safe to say Brandon Ingram is the better player. $8 million. I actually had trouble picking the better player for this, as it was Ben Simmons or Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic obviously won the Rookie of the Year with an outstanding season. He averaged 21.2 points per game and 6 assists. I think he's going to have an even better season on this upcoming one. Ben Simmons had averaged 16.9 points per game and 7.7 assists. Although Doncic had the better stats, Simmons was playing with guys like Embiid, Butler, Redick, and Harris, so I'm going to give this one to him. $9 million. There was no one else better than Bogdan Bogdanovic for $9 million. There were guys like Jeremy Grant, Fred VanVleet, and George Hill, but those guys are extremely inconsistent, so this one easily goes to Bogdanovic. $10 million. It's either DeAndre Jordan or DeAndre Ayton, but I think Ayton has the upper hand as he's the player with more potential and just had an amazing season alongside Devin Booker. DeAndre Jordan is in his 30s now and expect his athleticism to get worse. The winner is DeAndre Ayton. $11 million. I didn't really have much options here and came down to Spencer Dinwiddie and Jeremy Lamb. Lamb had played with the Hornets and had good minutes there due to their lack of players. Although Spencer Dinwiddie as the backup point guard for the Nets had done extremely well as he averaged 16.8 points and 4.6 assists per game, which is why I think Dinwiddie deserves the win. $12 million. Brook Lopez. His only competition was Patrick Beverley, but Lopez being the stretch 5 at 7-1, I think this one goes to him. $13 million. Yusuf Nurkic. There's no one else getting paid $13 million that's on the level of his. He did get injured before the playoffs this previous season. Before he had been injured, he was really playing well, so this one goes to Nurkic. $14 million. Eric Gordon. There's literally no one else. $15 million. There's two options between Clint Capella and Danny Green. Although, Danny Green is starting to get pretty old, and his three-point shooting has definitely decreased if you take a look into the previous season's playoffs. Clint Capella is still young and very talented, and he's going to be playing alongside Russell Westbrook and James Harden this season. He's going to be the perfect center for what those two guards need, and I think he's definitely the better player. $16 million. The options were between Dennis Schroeder, Eric Bledsoe, and Jonas Valanciunas. Although Schroeder was really good when he played for Atlanta, he hasn't recently been playing up to his expectations due to his role in Oklahoma, so he's out of here. Jonas Valanciunas was traded to Memphis this year and is still pretty young, so I'm sure Memphis will do whatever it takes to make him stay. But I don't think he's yet to be on the level of Eric Bledsoe's. Bledsoe put up 15.9 points and 5.5 assists per game while playing 29 minutes. He was also on the NBA first defensive team, even though lots didn't agree, meaning he is somewhat considered a good defender. If you haven't realized already, it's Eric Bledsoe. $17 million. Easily Bojan Bogdanovic. His only competitors were Evan Fournier or Bismack Biyombo, and I think we all know Bogdanovic is on a different tier than both players. $18 million. I think this one had to go to Julius Randle, as he's considered a little better than Miles Turner. Miles Turner is an elite rim protector, but Julius Randle being the offensive player he's known for, he's the winner. $19 million. I had an extremely hard thought about this one. The options are Draymond Green and Tristan Thompson. Draymond had averaged 7.4 points per game with 6.9 assists. He is a decent point forward, but is mainly known for his defense. He put up 1.4 steals and 1.1 blocks per game, which is really impressive at his height. Tristan Thompson had 10.9 points and 10.2 rebounds per game. He shot 53% from the field, and let's just say his defense was really not the best. It was hard choosing the winner, as these two exceed at the opposite stats and are very different from each other. I had to give Draymond Green the edge, as he's the player that fits in more with their team, as playmaking is really needed on the Warriors, and he delivers. Also, they need the most defensive help they can possibly get, due to Curry being the bad defender he's known for. Clearly, the Cavs are really getting nowhere, and Tristan Thompson isn't really doing much to prevent that from happening. $20 million. We all know the best dunk contest that has ever taken place, and that was obviously during the 2016 All-Star Weekend. I think we all know who the two contestants are, none other than Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon once again. Aaron Gordon had averaged 16 points and 7.4 rebounds per game. His shot selection isn't always the best, but he does have a field goal percentage of 45%. Zach LaVine had 23.7 points per game with a 47% field goal percentage. He is the franchise player for the Chicago Bulls and is extremely young, being 24 years old, which is why the winner is Zach LaVine. $21 million. There's literally no one else but Victor Oladipo that's getting paid this much. $23 million. This one was between Rudy Gobert and Danilo Gallinari. I had to give this one to Danilo Gallinari, as he just had a well-improved season and he put up great numbers while being on the Clippers. Gobert is one of the best defensive players in the league, but I'm pretty sure he hasn't made a shot outside of 10 feet. I think Gallinari is the more complete player, which is why I'm giving this to him. $24 million. Harrison Barnes. $25 million. Once again, another wasted contract being Chandler Parsons. This guy's getting paid $25 million to put up numbers like this.
No, God!
Yeah, I know. $26 million. Finally, we were able to get a well-deserved contract, actually more of an underpaid contract, being Giannis Antetokounmpo. Obviously, he wasn't an MVP level player while signing his contract, which is why he's a little underpaid. But $26 million is still a lot of money, and he's doing great things for the sport of basketball. Having numbers like 27.7 points and 12.5 rebounds per game is absolutely insane, and he's going to continue to get better. His only competitors were guys like Marcus Gasol, Steven Adams, and LaMarcus Aldridge, which obviously means it goes to Giannis. $27 million. I don't think you guys are really ready for this one. Anthony Davis, Andre Drummond, Bradley Beal, Kristaps Porzingis, D'Angelo Russell, Karl Anthony Towns, and Devin Booker, all getting paid $27 million. Let's start to eliminate the guys that just aren't there yet. Porzingis was injured this season, so let's take him out. And D'Lo is an amazing player, but he's still extremely young, so let's take him out as well. Andre Drummond is an athletic beast, but even with a team like his, he isn't able to get too far. Now we're left with Anthony Davis, Bradley Beal, Kat, and Devin Booker. Anthony Davis had amazing numbers this season with 26 points and 12 boards per game. Obviously, we know that he got traded to the Lakers, meaning his numbers will go down, but we are all aware what he's capable of doing. He's also pretty young, so expect him to get stronger and faster as the years go by. Beal had put up 25.6 points per game with 5.5 assists. John Wall is suffering a long injury, which is why Beal had taken over the Wizards. He was the only good player on the Wizards this season, and he tried his best to get them an 8th spot in the East, but obviously it was not possible due to the lack of talent. I think if he's able to get traded onto a good team, the experience will really be good for his career, and he'll make that team instantly a contender. Karl Anthony Towns had averaged 24.4 points per game with 12.4 rebounds. He had surprising percentages with a 52% field goal and while knocking down 40% from the three-point line. He had decent playmaking numbers with 3.4 assists, which isn't too bad for a center. His defense is pretty solid as well, as he had 1.7 blocks per game. He's only 23 years old, meaning he's got a huge future ahead of him. Now the last contestant is none other than Devin Booker. Booker also comes from the same situation as Beal. His team is definitely not the best, as they were almost the last seed in the whole league. Booker had averaged 26.6 points per game with 6.8 assists and a 47% field goal. He's only 22 years old, and he should really join a team that he's able to contend with. Now that we've broken down all the players, it's time to decide. Although Devin Booker had the most points per game, I don't think he's too much of a complete player. His three-point shot isn't just there yet, and he's still a developing player, so let's kick him out of here. Beal is an extremely talented player, but I don't think he's as good as the remaining big men we have left. Now this one's between Cat and AD. I think now that AD is playing with LeBron James, he'll really get mentored on what to do to improve his game and his next steps once LeBron is retired. I surely think AD can make it to the top, as he's already up there only at 25 years old. Cat definitely has a lot of potential, but due to AD having better mentors around him, I'm giving this one to Anthony Davis. $28 million. This one is fun as it's between Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid. Jokic had 20.1 points and 10.8 rebounds per game with a 51.1 field goal percentage. Joel Embiid had a huge year as he put up 27.5 points and 13.6 rebounds per game with a 48.4 field goal percentage. Although Jokic is a really good center, he's still very young and still learning on how to be a better player. I think Joel Embiid is the best center in the NBA as of right now, which is why he's the best player, getting paid $28 million. $29 million. The only player getting paid this much is Kevin Love. $30 million. Damian Lillard. His only competition was Paul Millsap, and I don't have to say the rest. $31 million. The two options were Paul George and Chris Middleton. Although Middleton was an all-star player this year, I definitely don't think he's on Paul George's level, which is why this one goes to Paul George. $32 million. Kyrie Irving was the only player getting paid $33 million. This one gets a little interesting. Our options are Jimmy Butler, Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, and Kemba Walker. To keep this short, I think Klay and Kemba should be out of this, as they are extremely talented players, but it is just below Butler and Leonard. Butler had played for the 76ers this past season and averaged 18.7 points per game while shooting 46% from the field. With absolute no disrespect, I think it's obvious he should be eliminated as he's going up against Kawhi Leonard, who had one of the best playoff runs in NBA history. We've seen how much of a good player he is, and that he's able to step up for a team at important moments. Obviously, Butler's numbers weren't the best as he played with guys like Embiid and Simmons, but he's able to make a name for himself again as he's playing on the Miami Heat with no other All-Stars on his team. This one had to go to none other than Kawhi Leonard. $34 million. Blake Griffin. It's either him or Kyle Lowry. $37 million. It's kind of interesting to see that LeBron James is the only player getting paid $37 million. $38 million. For this one, we had KD, John Wall, and James Harden. I know James Harden and John Wall are extremely talented players, but KD almost being compared to LeBron, I think it's safe to say that KD has already won this. $39 million. We all know the blockbuster trade that happened this summer, and it turns out both players are getting the exact same amount of money, obviously being Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook. Although both are extremely good players, Chris Paul is 34 years old, and is probably going to end up slowing down this season. Russell Westbrook is 30, but he's still extremely athletic. Chris Paul may soon get out of shape, and his stamina will continue to get worse. Westbrook is still very well built, which is why I think he's the better player and will do really well in the Rockets this year. $40 million. Finally, to conclude this video, the only player getting paid $40 million is Stephen Curry. He's known to be one of the best shooters alive, and I think he'll do well due to Klay Thompson being injured and Durant leaving the team. Since Curry's the only player getting paid this much, obviously he's the winner. Now, you guys know what that means. You finally reached the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I make basketball videos and express my opinions on different topics focused on the NBA, so make sure to check out my other videos as well. I hope to see everyone again in my next video, and until then, I'll see you guys next time.